Welcome to Self-Perfected.
I'm always nervous.
I'm always nervous because my nervous system is always working.
Hey.
I thought it was because all the coffee pumping through your blood. Just
Drake,
Hey,
you gotta
Yeah.
fucking break your patterns and drink some double espressos with us in Jefferson. Okay, look, if anyone's on video, check out, guess what Drake's eating. You know how like there's like raw chicken, you can kind of cut it up a little bit.
he's just eating raw chicken, but he won't eat coffee. It's weird.
What the fuck? You'd think after 3 years on this podcast, he would have realized interchange without outer change.
Hey, you know, I'm drinking a lot less coffee, by the way.
because
Really?
of the diarrhea.
Because what? It's higher density. You're doing espresso shots now.
No, I don't do espresso because at our little local coffee shop, I was talking to the woman who runs it or owns it, and because her drip coffee is so good, and I was like, how do you do that? Because like even when I do my pour overs and stuff, it's not that good. And she's like, it was about the water. If it's good water, has good mineral content, and then also the temperature and like the grind size. Those are the basic points. Which the only one we were getting wrong, really, actually, the amount of coffee also, the amount of coffee that you're putting into it. So I wasn't putting enough, and I wasn't
You weren't putting enough coffee.
enough coffee grounds in the
Okay.
for the amount of water.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because I was putting so much water, but only a little bit of
Yeah.
coffee comparatively. So you're just not really getting much coffee in there. That's why it looks like I drink so much coffee because it was very diluted. If you tasted it, it basically tasted like a really dark tea.
That
You
is, I
know?
remember whenever we're at your house, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I want that
now
punch.
all we did was, yeah, exactly. Now it's like we just added more coffee. And then you know what?
I
When y'all
drink
were
less
here-
coffee now because I actually drink more coffee.
So you actually drink more coffee. You don't drink less coffee. You just drink less liquid.
Less volume. Yeah.
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 I
Probably the
see.
same
You-
amount.
You tried to get me. You tried to get me, but you didn't get me. You can't get me. I'm not God. Right.
I'll get you on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when you were here one time? I don't know if it was last year or the year before. And
And the
You were like-
mineral content of your water.
no, you're like, your water is terrible, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so weird. Like, I didn't disagree with you, but I was like, it's just so weird because it's like filtered carbon, you know, like all this stuff, right?
You couldn't disagree with me because Max was like, yeah, I don't drink that water.
Well, here's what it is.
I'd pour some water for Max and he'd be like, where'd you get that water from?
When the water goes to the house, it splits off
Mhm.
and it goes to the bathroom is one system that goes out to like the septic. And then there's the sink in the kitchen area.
Yeah.
They're two separate pipes. So when I had the water filtration system, you know, like the big 5-stage carbon, all that stuff, water softener, all that stuff, that's only the bathrooms, like that side of the house. So like that water is filtered. So if you were to drink that water, it's filtered, you know, with like water softener and all that stuff in the bath and all that, which is good because you're taking all the weird stuff out.
Yeah.
So this whole time, you're just drinking tap water straight out of the tap.
I knew it.
So and we had some issues with the
And it was like
okay.
salty too. It was salty
well
too.
so my
Is it from a well or is it from the city? How's this water coming into?
it's from we have a well, but you can't have both at the same time. Yeah, if you do, you have to have some kind of like shut off thing. It's
Talk
weird. I
about
don't know why.
limitations in Texas.
I think it's like they
Damn.
just don't want you to somehow get your well water back up into the city. It's just a bunch of bullshit, but that's what I understand. So you have to install like some switch, shut off all this, whatever.
Oh,
But anyway, so we use like our well water right now for the garden, the animals, all that kind of stuff. And so anyways, we have an under the sink reverse osmosis system, but it doesn't have like a spout that comes out. It's like it's built into the faucet and you have to push a button like a
Oh, yeah.
Bluetooth. So I had to get that replaced. It was really hard to get the button. Finally, we have that all working. So then we were using that for the coffee, but it wasn't very strong. And when I talked to the woman at the coffee shop, she was like, she showed me her system. And she's like, she had one of the cartridges remineralizes the water after you filtered it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you take all the filter. So then I just switched out because I had like 2 of the carbon filter or whatever. I had 2 of the same. It was like redundant. So I
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
switched one of those out for remineralization. And now,
Hey,
so and what I like to do
Uh-huh.
is
is,
also pray over the water.
I mean, that's a given. When I make the kettle of water, I put a few drops of trace minerals in there.
Oh wow.
So you
Good,
really get
good.
all that going.
Well, you
on.
need that if you're doing reverse osmosis water. Like they should have this as a disclaimer on the box for that stuff. Because if you do the reverse osmosis, it's like yes, everything's taken out, but then it goes through your body and it literally will leach out all your minerals
Yeah.
from your bones.
So we hadn't really been drinking that water that much, except for basically our coffee, you know. But now anytime I drink water, even though it's already remineralized, I put some trace minerals drops in there. I've been doing that for a while now. Even put a little bit of what's that? The real salt, the Redmond salt.
Hey, yeah,
We use that stuff. Hey,
dude, that's a game changer. That's a game changer.
Max and I watched a really cool little mini documentary on. It was just a woman's YouTube video. But she was talking about.
just talking.
You posted that.
It wasn't even a
Oh,
documentary. She was just
no,
talking.
not that one. Well, that one
was a
probably
lecture.
talked about it too.
I watched
but
one after about the 3 types of main salt you can get.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it was
one,
like
yeah,
the
that's good.
Himalayan,
Yeah,
Celtic.
the real
Yeah.
salt, and the
that Celtic
salt.
one looked brutal. How they get that together, and the Himalayan one, I was like, man, these people, I don't know.
Well, when
Seems
they
like it's gonna
mentioned the
be
point about
dirty.
the quality control, I was like,
Yeah,
so if you get pink salt, you're not really sure if they're adding stuff or
Yeah.
not.
I feel good about the Redmonds one because they got like Mormons out in Utah, and it seems like I don't know. It gives me
That's why they
kinda
have so
Amish
many
vibes.
kids. Because
Yeah,
they're mining the
just go
salt.
work on the salt. Yeah.
I want to get the.
Hey,
I want to get the
equality
Celtic
of
salt.
labor, guys. Okay, I want to make sure that each of those mines with that heavy fucking workload is
Yeah.
equally woman, equally men, because that
Yeah.
is the only
And
fair way to
children.
do
And
it.
children. Don't forget the children.
That's why they have so many wives.
So they could be out in the salt mines.
Hey, that salt is good. If
And then they tell
anyone,
them-
yeah,
They tell them if you turn back, you'll be just like what's that woman's name? What's the guy's name? His wife.
Lot.
Lot. You'll be just like Lot's wife.
Have a lot of salt.
Mm.
Do you remember this
Wow.
story, Mitchell?
Profound.
Lot's wife?
I've only heard it secondhand.
Drake, anytime he gets a chance to tell a Bible story,
Drake is like it's like
he's like, have you heard that story? Have you ever heard of Noah? No, I mean you might have heard of it, but you haven't
have you
heard
ever
the
heard
real
of Genesis? Yeah, Drake. I
I remember
one time
Susu Studio.
Drake was what was it? Abraham? Moses, the one with the Red Sea. Weren't you sharing the Red Sea story last?
You ever heard about
one
that?
time in Texas?
I don't
Red Sea.
remember. I don't remember.
Drake was like acting it out. He was like doing this. I think it's even on photo.
Did anything part when I did it? Because
No,
if I
it's
do
just
it,
a
I
fire.
do it all the way. Like I actually make things part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if nothing,
You should
part
do that
back-
at Cameron's house, but you know how it parts into this way for the certain filter and this way for the other one.
Oh yeah.
Modern Moses.
I part the tap water.
I part the fluoride out of it, and I part all the minerals.
These are like modern Bible stories. It's like our own,
Yeah.
like
Hey,
our own
catchy.
self-perfected stories.
Hey, yeah, I
Self-perfected
would like that
parables.
so much more than like I remember being a kid and going to Saturday school or Sunday school or whatever, and you have
Yeah.
to go to the church, and for like 2 hours you're gonna be there. Oh, not fun at all.
You know what I really liked about my grandparents' church?
What?
They lived
They
at the
gave
beach
donut
after
holes?
they retired.
Ooh.
No, but they would have really great reception afterwards, and it'd be like
Mm.
a smorgasbord.
Mm.
Not the Wi-Fi. You said great reception afterwards.
That would be self.
I don't associate the word reception with Wi-Fi.
I definitely associate
cell
reception
phone,
with
cell
Get
phone
your
reception.
get your Bible story straight.
cell phone.
modern Bible
reception.
stories.
Modern Bible stories.
With self-perfecting.
Wi-Fi. Okay. Who was Sisyphus's great grandfather? Do you know who that was?
Yes.
Okay. What is his name?
What do you think it was?
I thought it was like.
Actually, I don't know.
Something like that. It sounds
Okay.
like Sisyphus. but with
Sounds like you're
a-
trying to use phonics to read ancient Greek. It's not working.
Hey guys.
Should we
hey
talk about
guys.
phonics again, guys?
For another 2 hours. No,
Oh,
phonics
man.
is fucking stupid. I think we can just rest the case with that.
Okay. All right.
Put that
Wait.
on a quote.
Hang on.
Put that on a
Can you-
motivational quote on your wall. Phonics is fucking stupid. Mitchell Snyder.
Okay.
With one of those motivational pictures, like an eagle flying, you know, those
Yeah, that'd be
90s
great.
offices where it's like the pictures.
Michael
His
Jordan
name-
slam dunking.
His
Yeah.
name
It's like,
was
fuck Phonics.
Chrysippus. Chrysippus.
Really? Did
Yes.
they like rhyme names back in the day?
Yes, because when you were
You had to know who your own was.
yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me just type this in. Because I just learned about this the other day and I thought it was hilarious. I've heard this story before, but then I heard it in a new light. So okay, I'm gonna tell you about this guy, Chrysippus, just a little bit. I'm just gonna tell you about how he died. You don't really need to know anything else about him, except for how he died. There's apparently two ways that he's thought to have died. And one of them was like he was seized with dizziness having drunk undiluted wine at a feast and died soon after. Nobody cares about that. The other way that he's said to have died was he was watching a donkey eat some figs and he cried out, "Now give the donkey a drink of pure wine to wash down the figs." And he found his own joke so funny. This was a joke that he was saying, like he saw a donkey eating some figs. He's like, give him some wine to wash down those figs, right? And he
How is
found
that
that
a
so
joke?
funny. I don't know, Greeks.
This
like,
guy has a really weird sense of humor.
okay, think about it. Like you see like an ass eating like some fine caviar, and you're like, hey, make sure you get some like wine to wash down that caviar. You know, that sort of thing. That's the joke, right? Anyway, anyway.
So
Oh.
basically, that he was eating the figs. That he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
It was a different time. Okay,
That's a very
Cam?
culturally contextual.
You get it now, though, right? You get it.
So are we
Right?
gonna agree like Chrysippus
Is it funny?
deserves
Is
to
okay,
die
but
because
is it
this
so funny that you
causes death?
died?
He thought it was so funny. He thought his own joke was so funny. He died of laughter at his own joke. Okay, this is. Here's why I'm bringing this up. Here's why. Because he died of amusement. He laughed himself to death, right?
Hmm.
And today, we live in a world where we amuse ourselves to death. Like we're literally doing, well, not us, but mass society is literally doing nothing else but amusing themselves to the point where they're not even living life. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was thinking about the whole bread and circus thing this morning. Give them bread and circuses, and I was like, now it's crickets and TikTok.
You've been thinking about the Roman Empire? Have you seen this
Yeah.
this meme? Like apparently you're supposed to like people ask guys like, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? I don't know. I've never
I
heard
heard
of
something
this.
about that the other day. It was probably your post though.
No, I didn't post about this. I would never.
What's the
Never, Drake.
I don't know
There are a lot
why.
of historical stories.
I did not look into this at all, but apparently it's a theme on TikTok where people will just like women will go up to guys and be like, "How often do you think about the Roman Empire?" And guys are always like, "I think about it all the time." Tim sent me one of them, and it was like, "I think of the Roman Empire all the time, how it collapsed and everything, and we're there. And then
Okay, fair enough. I mean, we've talked about this.
Yes, for sure. But like, I don't
I
know
literally
why
brought
it's-
up bread and circuses.
But this was like we talked about this a year ago, and this is now.
We talked
becoming a
about this
theme now.
3 years ago when they were having transgender people.
Yes.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick believed that we were still in the Roman Empire.
Wait a minute. Explain this to me.
What, because Catholicism?
I thought I've talked about this. No, if you read the book, I think it's Valis, pretty sure. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's Valis. That it's like we're in there's a Satan basically is put an illusion over us. So like
Oh,
we're
you
literally
did
in
talk about
Roman
this.
times, but it just looks like we're in modern times, but really it's still the Roman Empire.
Okay.
Okay. By what
Alright.
mechanism is Satan doing this? Is this like VR goggles?
Yeah.
Blonde
I mean,
wolf
dude,
suit?
fucking
Can you
Newton,
explain-
Isaac Newton thought the same thing.
How does Satan work? Can you explain this?
Descartes thought the same thing.
And we're just like somewhere else.
They think that it's just like you're in a virtual reality ruled by Satan.
Julius says that he would have laughed. Okay.
Think about it. Imagine if you believed it so much, you were like, fuck. How do I know if I'm real? Like, imagine back in the day,
Mm.
you didn't even know about virtual reality.
Yeah.
But you're just
holy
like,
shit.
but you somehow could understand the concept that this could be an illusion. That's what they meant by illusion. Think about it. People say like, oh, this is all illusion. Indian philosophy or whatever, when they're like, this is Maya, this is illusion. What they're really saying is they think this is virtual reality.
Mhm.
They just didn't have the technological context for saying those words, but they're just saying like, this is a virtual reality. This is not real. You're in a simulation. That's what they were saying.
That's
Sure.
crazy. So I've been reading that book, Tragedy and Hope, and it's really fascinating because it's explaining like how did the Western, civilization evolve, and now I'm like learning about Russia and the Ottoman Empire and everything. And it's so wild because so much of the development that happened that set up the West the way it is, and then like Russia and a lot of the East the way it is based on how quickly we went through the agrarian revolution, the industrial revolution, and then technological revolution. And in Russia, or at least around like Western Russia, they had this really hard split between basically it's so complex, but I'll keep it as simple as I can, where in a lot of the Western world, they associated like reason and society with like being good.
Hold on. You said reason. It cut out for a second. Reason
and like society and the state and just like all of that was like good.
Got it.
He's gone.
It's weird because I have crazy cloud cover right now.
Yeah, that's what Katie was just saying.
The Starlink is still working.
Wow, it's because I'm explaining about Russia, you guys. Can we still?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh god, my reception.
The Russians
Inception.
got
you, huh? Your Wi-Fi reception's not good right now.
There you go. See?
Hey, there we go.
You should go to my grandparents' church. They have those little those little like breakfast sausages, but they're like kind of like cocktail wieners. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't really like those.
Okay. So hang on. Okay, cocktail wieners. All right.
Okay. Is it better now?
The problem is if they get the right sauce for it. If it's like the cocktail like hors d'oeuvre wiener sauce where it's like a little bit soury, I don't like that. You got to get like more of a smoky barbecue flavor.
Okay.
Hey, we should have that. We should have that when we're in Texas. Okay. So basically in Russia, there was this huge movement that reason was equated with Satan and evil.
Right.
And so there was this like within the very like evolution of their starting point.
Makes basically sense.
It does make sense, actually.
Okay. Elaborate. Because
like
in the West,
in God.
It's reason is good.
No. You can't have reason if you're the church, and then somebody's coming at you with like, this doesn't make any sense. That guy's a fucking Satanist. Everybody take note. This guy doesn't believe in God.
Well,
fuck him.
I meant it more like the point of view, although your beliefs are not reasonable. So it makes sense why you would be like reason, like not even just as a defense mechanism, like an actual, like, no reason. If you think things through and you try to use logic to understand stuff, clearly, but then obviously you have the state. See, but that was probably at the time when you had the state kind of vying for power politically with the church, right?
I would think if I'm the Pope, just like many popes before me, I don't want you thinking for yourself. I want you to be as unreasonable as possible so that I can be your voice of reason. You can come to me.
So what was the other side of it, Mitch?
It was basically in the West, it was like reason was good and constructive, and you could actually like have the social fabric of people like getting smarter together.
Which is where technology comes in and all that.
Yeah. And then
so what's the other side?
The other side is literally, it's like there's like reason is of Satan. This world is of Satan. Like it's basically like everything about this world and this reality is fucked. That's why I first thought of it. Because I was like, I'm just seeing this. I'm like, wow, wow, we live in such a good time right now because we can actually change this. Because like, holy shit, imagine trying to stand up back then. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
read these like crazy statement, like I never really read much of history. Like I took some classes in high school where it was like an AP class. So we
Dude,
like,
they don't teach you any of this stuff in school.
right,
Like
right.
it's such a mind control like what about history? You gotta learn history. And it's a fucking mind control. Like you're not learning shit about history in school. You're not learning anything.
Yeah. And I'm like, so I kind of, because of that, I kind of just brush it off like, history. I don't know. Who even knows what the
Right.
fuck is going on with history, you know? But I remember hearing from John Taylor Gatto and some of these other guys, this Tragedy and Hope book is like pretty cool overview. So I was like, fuck it. Let me just start reading it. And if it sucks, whatever. But it's really interesting because they'll say there'll be these sentences in there of like, yeah, and then the Serbians, fought the Hungarians and just thousands were massacred or whatever. Just like a little sentence. I'm like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Cause like you look at your one life right now and you're like, wow, my life is so great. I have all these aspirations and goals and family and community. And then you just think of like thousands of people in some random little part of the world just getting fucking massacred for basically no good reason except for just control. And it really has done something to my perspective where I see on with more like magnitude why it's so important what we're doing is because we actually for the first time ever have a way to create real democracy, real change, because we can for the first time ever equalize education. It's literally never been possible.
I was watching just a short video of Russell Brand talking the other day. Because he's like being
Oh wow, you're into
demonetized.
Russell Brand still? Okay. I heard he
Oh,
was bad.
Anyway, so I heard he was being demonetized, and then like a video was suggested, and it was only 3 minutes. I watched it, and he's
I
basically
like how he's
saying-
being demonetized, but the YouTube algorithm is still recommending you his videos.
Yeah, right. so I watched it.
That's how they should shut him down. Don't demonetize him. Just
Stop
fuck with
recommending.
the algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he's like, hey everybody, as you know, the British government has asked for social media companies to basically deplatform me or censor me in some way, and some of them have obliged, and so we're moving off of this platform is basically what he was saying. And then he kept talking, and he was saying, hey, the next video that we're going to do is going to be talking about like, well, how war is bad, like in Ukraine and all this stuff, and how these things don't add up, and how we're basically going into war, or how our leaders are bringing us into war for little more than like money laundering, essentially. And then he goes, no offense to the hundreds of thousands of people that are being affected by this and, maybe being killed or whatever, right? And I just found that like that no offense part like really stuck out to me, because I didn't understand. Well, I did understand, but that very moment I was like, why does he have to qualify no offense? Like he's, if you're speaking about what's actually going on, this has been the case for centuries, has been, we go to war for money. I want more money, or I want to use my money in this way, whatever it is, right? It's always for money / power, right?
Or resources, yeah, which convert to money.
Exactly, right? And so that's always been the case. And yes, people have died because of that, always. So why would somebody take offense to that? And I was just thinking of it from the context of like, if you were talking about some drug lords, right? And you're like, yeah, these drug lords, they're just doing this for money. They're just doing this to like have control and power and sell their product or whatever. And they've killed, hundreds of thousands in the process. You wouldn't be like, no offense to the people who died. You'd just be like, this is what's happening. This is what's happening. They're murdering you. They're massacring you.
But then you would have, so the equivalent would be somebody being like, see, the problem is with that analogy is you know the drug lord is bad in this story.
Exactly.
And
No, that's not
there's
the
a
point.
lot
That's
of
the
people
whole
who are
point.
like,
That's the whole
no,
point.
you know, and it's not that one side is good. It's just the whole thing is fucked, obviously. But it'll be like, how dare you? Like the Ukrainians are fighting for their lives over there, you know?
Right.
That and that's why.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know why he's apologizing to those people. They're the ones who aren't interested in what he's saying in the first place.
Right. Exactly. That's
But I
the
think
whole-
that's part of his brand, right? Is like, I really care
I see what you
about
did
people.
there. Just part of his brand.
Yeah,
Mm,
Yeah.
it's really clever. But yeah, like I think that, you know what I mean? It's like he's compassionate. He
yeah,
cares.
yeah. He's like the enlightened,
Rapist.
meditator.
Hello, you 95,000 enlightened
Beautiful souls.
Yeah.
like-
On your cosmic journey of discovery. Like, you do the accent actually really well. That's like sounds like Russell Brand.
Christine,
I-
does he practice this off camera?
I have practiced this. actually. when I was in high school, I
You
went a
practice
whole
Russell
week.
Brand's accent.
I went a whole week just practicing a British accent.
Oh,
Just like
but it's not just any British accent. It's like
In
very
class
specific.
too? Like when you
yeah,
were
in class, literally everywhere I went.
Wow.
Like,
wow. I
Everyone was
wonder if
annoyed
we
with me.
all okay. I wonder if when we were all like 18 and if we all met each other, like if we could run some simulation VR and we could all be like our 18-year-old selves. I wonder what
I-
our conversation would be.
I would have
ran
been
a
talking
simulation.
about time travel and relativity and stuff like
Drake
that.
would be in a British accent.
Well, maybe I don't know, but I definitely would not be with Christine. She was way out of my league then. It was just not possible.
Were you like what's
I
that?
see
What's
her.
that one movie? What's that fucking movie with that McLovin guy?
Yeah. She's out of my
Super
league.
bad.
I don't think it wasn't McLovin. It wasn't him. It's the other nerdy guy. It's the guy from Tropic Thunder. That guy. You know the nerdy guy from Tropic Thunder? You don't know.
Well, I'm just asking, were you like McLovin when you were 18?
Oh. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I thought I was
I'm just trying to get a visual.
maybe
For my
McLovin is very
AR.
specific.
I'm gonna feed this transcript through an
I was
AI.
more of a young Isaac Newton.
What, as in you thought we were all in a fucking Satan created reality?
Basically, yeah. I was doing alchemy in my spare time.
Yeah, I tried to practice
You
alchemy.
mean just taking acid tabs? That's what I called it.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm an alchemist, guys. I need to do these drugs.
I need
I'm
these
an
chemicals.
I remember going to like one of those festivals, one of those like camping festivals, and saying
Like
something
camping
about-
festival or like a do
It was
drugs
a
rave
camping festival.
Yeah,
It's-
that's
it's
like.
it's a festival, and then you camp at the festival. You know, like
But was it like a camping festival or like
But
a?
you're making
we're
it
here
seem
to
like it was
rave and do
camping
drugs
themed.
at a
Like you were
festival?
there. Like there was
Rave.
seminars on camping.
Yeah, like it's like wholesome or some shit. Or was it like a no? We're gonna be up all night. Like
let me
the worst
clarify
version
for
of
you guys. Let me clarify for you guys. I have never been to a camping festival. I have never been to something like if it was just for camping. No. The only time
I would
I've
be
ever
into
done that-
camping nowadays. That'd be fun. That'd be like a fun family activity.
I did that when I was in Boy Scouts. One time we went camping and it was like on some lake. And I remember I
On a
got in
lake?
trouble. Yeah,
I think
on
we
a
should
lake.
all get together and go camping at a lake and like, but have like lodges
Hey, yeah, nice lodges.
with AC
Yeah,
and
and some
electricity.
guns in case the coyotes get too close. Make sure you bring your new
I mean,
puppies.
I'm basically camping every day.
Yeah, you basically that you just described your life.
Yeah.
We should go camping.
Your life is a camping festival. Wow, 18-year-old Drake would be so jealous right now.
Okay, so I went to a festival with drugs and
Oh, one of
raves
those festivals.
and music. There's music, and I don't know what else are at this festival.
You don't remember it?
Overpriced pretzels and things like that that I really enjoyed. Those pretzels are amazing. You ever have Amish pretzels? Yeah. Anyway, I
You sure it
remember-
wasn't other drugs?
No, I'm not sure, but it's delicious. But I remember I was just bringing this up because Cam said something about acid, right? And I remember talking to somebody and saying something about acid, and they were like, that's just like such a harsh word. Don't call it that. Like that's not it's not what we call it. I prefer the term, I don't remember what they said. I don't remember what they said, but they preferred some other term. Hey, Mitch, is Cam here? He hasn't blinked in a while. Oh, okay. He's gone. Cam's gone. What is that? What do you got there? Describe it
Jess,
to
what
me.
is this? There's bacon.
There's bacon.
Hey,
Nice. What's up, Jess?
He
I
says,
can't
"What's up,
hear
Jess?"
you, but
Uh,
I made a skillet and I have been making skillets with frozen bacon and I just chop it up and throw it in the skillet. And it makes it so much easier because I don't have to take it out ahead of time. Because if you try and do frozen bacon without chopping it up, it's very difficult. So,
That's good.
yes.
okay. All right. Frozen bacon chopped, thrown into a skillet.
Then heated,
And
of
then-
course.
Oh, okay. Are there eggs in the skillet?
He has eggs in the skillet.
Oh, there are not eggs in the skillet. Usually there are eggs, but I forgot. And then I decided it's good enough without.
Okay. All right. All right. Nice. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you, Jess. Ah, nice.
So you're at a festival, you ate a pretzel. I wonder if people are like just coming across a self-reflective podcast and they're like, wow, these guys are like trying to like change the world. Now they're talking about fucking pretzels. Yeah.
dude, we talk about a lot of different things, but
To make the world best for all, you must factor in all, right? It's in the fucking principle. Consider all life.
there you go. Cam, you were just staring at us, not blinking for a full 2 minutes.
I was thinking you got hijacked by Satan.
I was like, dude, Cam is
He's like talking
really-
shit. He's like, yo, my Starlink's just fine.
He's just getting into like the whole getting into the whole character of just like, yeah, you're at a festival, on a rave, all right, doing a lot of drugs. This is what it looks like. He's still going. Look at him.
That was Drake the whole weekend after he ate his pretzel.
Yeah.
So what was the outcome though? Was there like a crispiest moment?
No. Chrysippus, you mean Chrysippus? or the crispiest moment?
Wait,
What was the-
what was the crispiest moment? When you
Oh,
fried
dude.
your brain. I already explained it to everyone. That's a skillet with bacon and potatoes and tomatoes.
Sounds pretty good. Is there avocado in
Yeah.
There is avocado.
And some hot sauce.
it? Oh,
It depends on like I have to be in the mood for hot sauce, but I know your mood is your doom. So I
what
might
hot
reverse
sauce you
it.
got?
Some kind of it's not like classic sriracha, but it tastes kind of like sriracha.
Okay.
Do you ever just decide your mood? You can decide your mood as like your mode.
Okay. Should I do this real time? Take all the hot sauce, one bite, and just prove it to everybody
Prove them
Wow.
what?
And prove what?
that I can
That
decide
you have ketchup?
that
You're lying?
that I can decide. I'm going for it.
Why?
Break your patterns. It's actually really fucking tasty, but it's really fucking hot.
let
I'm
me
definitely gonna start crying.
let me tell you something about the hot sauce at Mitch's place. They don't have regular hot sauce. They don't
Woo!
believe in just like hot sauce.
That is freaking good, but it hurts.
They don't believe in that at all. All of the hot sauces at the Snyder residence, all of them are extremely hot with
Yeah.
some weird different flavor combinations. I don't
Really?
know why. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're all like habanero. They're all like some ridiculous.
Okay,
hot
this
shit.
is why. Because back in the day, for fun, we used to do these weird rave festival things and try and spike your adrenaline and your dopamine and all that shit. Because we don't do that anymore. Now we're about the physical. We're physically altering our chemicals through spice because it spikes your adrenaline. That's actually why I think it is. Because it's fun.
Literally just
Like
a substitution. You just substituted one drug for another. That's not what we're about here. Hang on, Mitchell. Give the people what they need. Okay. Don't go through your life saying what Mitchell just said. Don't do that. You're fucking yourself over. You're like, oh, I need that adrenaline spike. Oh, but I gotta be wholesome. So I only drink a bunch of sugar. No.
Yo, I would not do that with
No.
sugar. Sugar's abusive.
Exactly.
I'm just
Exactly.
kidding.
You need to just
No.
change your entire life.
No,
And
it's actually just the starting point. It's clear now, to put
Mm.
it simple.
Hmm.
Hot
Mm.
sauce, sugar. I don't do drugs though. That actually fucks you up.
There you go.
You know.
There you
Yeah.
go.
No, it's fun though. You know. You ever just get some good hot sauce? This is
Yeah.
actually really good. It's kind of sweet.
Nice.
Tasted almost like apples.
So it's like a
Yeah.
sriracha style. I don't know if I would like that
Yeah.
on a skillet. Maybe.
It's like sriracha, but like a little apple. It almost tastes like, the word is coming to me is like raisin something.
No. It completely turned me off.
I don't know what it is. It's not raisin, but it's like plum. It's like plum hot sauce.
If you want to just turn me off, you could just say raisin. Just that word.
Christine, keep that in mind, okay? When Drake is harassing you next time.
Just
Doesn't
talk
work
about
for her.
raisins.
Just it doesn't work for her. It works for food.
That's her safe word. Raisin. So,
Christine's been making some food lately. It's been really delicious. She's back in the kitchen. She's working full force. And one of the things that she made this past week was stir fry. And it was, oh no, wait, I made that stir fry. She made stir fry last week, but it was still really, really good. I forgot she prepared all the ingredients for the stir fry. And then I made the stir fry. I heated it up anyway.
You heated it up.
Yeah.
So she cooked it, put it in the fridge, and then you just heated it back up. Is that what
No,
you're
no,
saying?
no, no. She didn't cook it. She didn't cook it. I cooked it. She cut all the things up and like put the ingredients out, and then I put them all together and cooked it. Yeah.
Mitch's Wi-Fi reception is not good right now.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Man, I see what's happening here. It's just this is the me podcast, and then you guys pop in every
It's the
once in a
Matrix,
while.
man.
Yeah.
Start
So,
talking about the illusions and
That's it. That's it. We talked about the illusions, and now you're seeing the illusion is breaking down. And actually, that is really kind of what we're being faced with here in reality. We're being faced with the illusion breaking down in that we are not all one and equal. And so everything that we do will bring us back to that understanding of we are one and equal. Mitch said his power went out and his laptop glitched. So not likely to return.
so is there storming up there?
I'm not sure.
Weird. It's storming here. What about with you guys? It looks like you have I can't tell if you have window there or not.
Yeah, that's a window.
It's sunny.
It's very sunny. And yeah, we don't have any storms.
Interesting.
We live in Florida. Okay. We never get storms.
It doesn't rain?
Never, ever, ever.
Doesn't it rain like a lot? I've been to Florida. I've been to Orlando. It just
rains every
randomly
day.
rains like, yeah, exactly. Like
It rains every day, but usually at the same time and only for like 15 minutes at a time.
it's really weird.
Yeah. So
Talked
like we'll
about this.
get like severe thunderstorm warnings. Like the other day, severe thunderstorm. And it was just like, and then like literally 5 minutes later, sun was out and everything. It seems like so much for severe thunderstorm. I was like, that was severe for the 5 minutes that it was here. So, yeah. What do you want to talk about, Cam?
Man, what do I not want to talk about is the question.
Okay.
I haven't been like the past week. I haven't really been following like what's going on other than like I saw the Russell Brand thing
Yeah.
and I don't really know
Did you see that Canada thing that Abe sent? Of like
which one.
some video of this guy talking about how Canada is really on the way out. Like and he was talking about the cost of living going up in Canada.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm aware of these points, but yeah.
Yeah. And then he was also talking about how they basically made it so that, it's not just cost of living is going up. They have a ton of immigration coming in where it's like, basically they're to the point where, because Canada's only got like the whole of Canada's only got like what, 30 million people, right?
Yeah, it's like basically equivalent to Texas,
Right.
the population, and they all live like right along the border, basically.
Right. But they're pumping in so many people. They've got, so cost of living has gone up. They've got a housing crisis where they have 6 million less houses than there are people living in Canada. And on top of that, they were saying like they've got all these people coming in to the point where it's supposed to be 60 million in the next, I think like 10 years or something like that. And then in the next 20 years, if it keeps at this pace, it'll be 100 million. Like, which is like, they're gonna basically triple their population size.
Because you know what's going on? They're like, oh, they're securing the southern border of the United States. Let's put them up here now or something. Actually, I don't know. That border is probably pretty.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if it's. I don't know how secure it is, but
No idea.
they'll just put pressure that way.
Yeah, but
We can sit here and be like, well, we need to stop immigration. It's like that's not going to happen.
that's not the the
So
point. But they're saying like, you know, the immigrants will come to Canada and then they realize like it is impossible actually to move up in Canada right now. Like, you know, it's
well, you starting your own business is very different there than it is here.
Mhm. That plus it
You know, that
takes-
old Canadian dream everyone's chasing.
yeah, for that Canadian bacon.
Boom, Canadian bacon. That's what I think of when I think of bacon. Canadian
Right.
bacon. They had to say Canadian because they were like, we don't want you to think it's actual bacon or even close to actual bacon. It's like a pork chop that's very thin.
Right. I'm always telling Christine, like, because she'll see Canadian bacon in the store and she's like, we don't even call that bacon. That's not fair. Like,
Well, you know, I had Canadian bacon in Niagara and it's not even that. That's just a piece of ham. What we call Canadian bacon, just like a piece of ham in the shape of, you know, it's a little bit thicker than you would get for a sandwich.
right.
But I had Canadian bacon in Canada and it was just like it was more like a pork chop.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they have a different Canadian bacon over there?
It was in Niagara, so maybe it's just a tourist thing. I don't know.
Probably. I don't know. They have you ever heard of scrapple? Have you ever heard of this? Or like a ham roll? Like they do it in
Ham roll?
Philadelphia and New Jersey. Yeah. It's like some weird, I don't know, weird like
Scrapple?
yeah, that's what they call it. Some weird ham thing that they have. It's like I don't even know how to describe it actually. It's I ate it once and I was like, interesting. That was interesting to me. Yeah.
I missed the part where you described what it was.
I didn't describe it as
Oh.
I avoided describing it. Yeah. Katie says that was 10 minutes ago. She said it's hardcore storming over there.
Over here.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to what it's been, yeah, it's like windy. I'm looking out the window, rain. It's definitely like storming. I mean, but I can still see outside. So
Is it cool over there? Like chilly?
I don't know about right now. It wasn't hot, but like it's been between, let's say 65 to 89. That's what the range is in the morning to hot lately.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty good. That's probably nicer than here.
Just
Here it's
stopped
like-
raining.
Okay. Nice. What are we talking about today?
Well, we've been talking for an hour about what we're going to talk about. But the interruptions from the storm is not helping.
Yeah. Sure.
I saw this interesting thing. I was looking on my Facebook while I was waiting to get back on the connection, and it was some ad for some kind of tutoring program or whatever. And they were saying this point about how they were doing like their sales pitch in the video, because like subtitle was like Aristotle, or sorry, Alexander the Great was tutored by Aristotle one-on-one, you know, all this stuff, right? That whole thing.
Yeah.
And but it was interesting because I like obviously most kids are not going to be able to have a one-on-one tutor. And I'm like, man, if only there was somebody in their life who really cared about them, you know?
Yeah, right.
So it's like they're not trying at all to change or challenge anything. It's just more like, okay, let's take advantage of a situation. Kids are more at home. They're not getting what they want in school. People are aware of this. Let's just tell them, we'll just give the kids school at home, but call it one-on-one tutoring online. And it's just literally an AI. That's all it is.
Crazy.
And you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
All these people are probably scrambling to create AI tutors for people, not realizing it's just missing the point. I'm totally missing the point.
Yeah, it's
Because
like,
who was Alexander the Great's parents?
I don't
Not
know.
nobodies.
Who were they?
They weren't nobodies.
Were they?
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. well, clearly they could hire Aristotle. So
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
right? Is that how the story goes? I don't know.
I read one story about Alexander the Great that he had anxiety that his dad was going to conquer the whole world and there wouldn't be anything left for him to conquer. And he died really early apparently. And what I read it was a fever he died of after his troops refused to. I don't remember where it was. I was going to say Egypt. That didn't seem right. It was some place he wanted to go into and conquer, and like the troops refused or something, and then he died of a fever right after that.
I'm like, fuck.
Isn't that interesting though?
I won't be able to conquer her anymore.
Yeah, it's like he was like, fuck this.
I don't want to live. That's crazy.
Kind of fascinating. Yeah.
I read a story about Alexander the Great where he had been walking with his troops for, I guess, hundreds of miles, or I don't know, something ridiculous. And they were walking across this desert and there was no water in sight anywhere. And everyone was understandably just like exhausted, like demoralized, essentially, didn't want to keep going. And some scouts had come back, and the scouts came back with a helmet filled with water. And they were like, this is all the water that we could get, but we found some water.
What did they like piss in a helmet?
They pissed in this helmet and they brought it to Alexander the Great. No, but they brought him some water. And he's like, they're like, here for you. And he like turns, and in front of all of his troops, he takes the helmet and he pours it out. And it was like that one act was enough to bring back all the high spirits within all of his troop, and then they all, continued on. And I thought that was a cool story. But there's,
I do that a lot here at my family. It's like when I give the last piece of bacon to my kids.
you give them the last piece of bacon.
Yeah.
Do you choose which one gets to have the bacon? You're like,
I just break it in half.
you, my first son, you get the bacon because you are the tallest and most strong boy here.
I don't talk like that, but I do say those words. I just don't use that accent.
Okay.
It's more of a Russell Brand accent. Hey, Mitch.
Hey,
Welcome
so our
back.
power went out on our entire block. Theoretically,
Is there a storm?
no.
Just randomly
I don't
or
know.
not?
Yeah, our neighbor.
Well,
texted
you are
us,
really
he's like,
close. You are really close to Canada, so it's not surprising.
What, are they getting power outages?
No, well, it's just the communism is
Hmm.
bleeding
creeping
across
in.
the border. Yeah.
I mean, that's true, but we do a pretty good job of keeping ourselves insulated. So
This is an interesting angle. I've not seen you at this angle before, Mitchell.
I don't know how to adjust the freaking tripod.
Oh, is this from your phone?
Yeah, my everything's out. I'm banking on the fact
Oh,
that I
you're
charged
on,
my
like,
phone to
your
100%.
You're on your cell reception.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
still working.
we went from the church reception to the Wi-Fi reception, and now we're on the cell reception.
Your cell's not bad. My cell would not be able to do that out here.
Mm.
Actually, maybe where I'm sitting right now, if
Because
we're
of
in
the
the barn,
stream.
I have a cell phone booster. But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like way up, mounted up high on the barn. I tried to do it in the house, but I couldn't get it high enough, so I have to get a taller thing.
Does your cell phone not connect to your Wi-Fi, to your Starlink?
Sure, but I'm saying if it went out.
Oh, I see. I get what I see what you mean. I see.
These are the important topics. I think this episode of our podcast will be called
Why we're so fucking amazing. The
Something
three
about
keys to
storms.
success.
The three keys. I don't get it. I don't get it. Man.
It's just funny because
That's the
like,
point.
yeah,
The real secret
the secret behind the secret.
behind the secret.
Mm.
The secret in front of the secret.
What's that secret?
Ooh. The fact that we're in a virtual reality created by Satan, hypothetically.
We're in a physical reality. We're in a virtual reality inside a physical reality. See, the problem is you go far enough. They just think it's a virtual reality, and then it's like you can do whatever you want, but clearly you can't. think about the myth of like the Matrix point where it's like, oh, once you learn the code,
Oh no.
There you are.
like once you learn the to see the code or whatever, you could like bend physical reality. But it's not that. It's just once you learn to see the code, then you can change yourself to not see your programming as limitations.
Mm.
So to what you can accomplish. Like it doesn't mean that the physical rules don't apply. It's just it's interesting. We are physically limited, but those aren't the problems. You know what I mean? The limitations that we have in our current society is not physical limitations. It's mental limitations. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean so people, the distractions, people go like, oh, I need to learn how to like bend spoons and bend physical reality, and that's the point. And it's not. It's like, no, it's stop thinking you're just a nobody who can't stand up for the world changing and everyone having what they need and having a world based on what's best for all. That's where the actual limitation is. It's not a mental limitation that you can do magic.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a mental limitation that you can't actually have a world of equality that's best.
And it's a
That's the
vocabulary limitation.
Right.
That's funny. I was watching Soft by Underbelly, and he was interviewing a gigolo, which I found it very interesting. I didn't know those were an actual thing. I thought that was just something that you see in movies that's like a trope, like
Yeah.
like just an idea of like, because it's always like a comment. Like, wasn't there like a Rob Schneider movie?
Yeah.
Called
Deuce
Gigolo or
Bigelow.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
But what is a gigolo? What is it? Is it just
It's
a
a
male
male-
prostitute? That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
It's a
not
male-
there's gotta be more context to it than that.
Yeah, right.
There's gotta be something more to it than just they're a male prostitute.
So apparently, what this guy was saying is, it's male companionship, and it's like a 4-hour minimum to be with this guy, and he's like, and the sex is not included in that 4 hours. It's just like
That's the upsell.
that is the upside.
One-time offer, limited time.
It's basically like all your bros are busy doing stuff, and you just need someone to play like, World of Warcraft with, or I don't know, whatever game people play nowadays.
Yeah.
Roblox.
Roblox. We're gonna play
Roblox?
Roblox. Yeah.
I'm gonna hire a gigolo to play Roblox with.
Yeah, but this guy was like describing his life, and he was like being really like vague and like trying to be like an enigma, like enigmatic. Is like life growing up was just really tough, really challenging, but you never know that when you're a kid. You think everything's fine, but like looking back, I was definitely abused. But he didn't go into any specifics at all, right? And then he continues on about like, he starts telling a story about how he got into being a gigolo. And it was like, he started out as like a male stripper or something like that. And how he was like, and then I started building confidence, but actually it was just alcohol. And then the interviewer asked him a question. He's like, oh, so we're talking about this now. We're jumping back and forth. Like you could see, like it was so funny because like he definitely had this persona about him where he's like, I need to present myself in this way. And then when that was interrupted with like just a question of like, hey, could you go back to this? He was just like complete, like it was like kind of like the comment that he made, the way that he said it was like, why don't you just let me do my thing? And like, why are you interrupting me? Right. But then later on in the story, he talks about how now what he's doing is he's like opened some spiritual center in Sedona, and people hire him to learn to build confidence and like all this stuff. And like, he's like really spiritual, really spiritually open and all this. And the interviewer's like, yeah, how does that work with being a gigolo? Like,
What did he say?
how does that work with your profession? She's like, yeah, I've just always been like spiritually enlightened, and it just like always had this like yearning for more. And he's like, so what do you do on these dates? Like, I'm guessing they don't.
The guy's like, I
all-
want to know more about the gigolo stuff.
Yeah, he's like, I'm guessing right? He's like, I'm guessing they don't all end in sex because like that's not generally what women want. And he's like, yeah, no, they don't. And I can't even guarantee that because that's not what you're paying me for. And so no. But they really just want answers. That's what people want. People want answers. And I give them answers. And like it's so interesting because this guy really believes that he's like spiritually enlightened and that he has some answers for you, or
Probably
whatever.
because he's seen like how people are searching and everything, and then he's able to comfort them. And then he's like, why don't I just take that to the next level?
Right.
If you think about it, if you go to Tony Robbins or something, isn't he basically just a gigolo? You're just paying to spend time with him.
Whoa.
There's nothing else.
Whoa, this guy figured out the game. This guy
Yeah, I
figured
mean,
out the game.
it's just they know how to manipulate feelings enough to keep you coming back. It's like the rave camp. It's in the same sense. It's like you're going there because you're going to feel some sense of excitement or some positive emotion, and then you leave feeling drained, and it's like then you just keep coming back for more like a fucking addict.
Wow. I'm changing my profession now, guys. Now that you've enlightened me,
You're going to be a best for all gigolo.
I
you're
am
gonna
the best for
redefine
all
gigolo?
gigolo. Actually, I'm the best for all juggalo. So just a little bit different, but
Isn't that fucking weird band?
what?
I feel like if
Insane
Mitch
Clown Posse?
hadn't if Mitch hadn't found Techno Tutor, Destiny, etc., he would probably at this point be a juggalo.
Yeah, probably.
Gigolo or Juggalo?
Juggalo. I could see you being a juggalo.
Isn't Juggalo Insane Clown Posse?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
same
feel
thing.
like we talked about this.
For anyone who doesn't know what this is, I don't even know what this is. Can someone explain this for me? All I know is there's a band called Insane Clown Posse. Not even a band. They're just a group.
Yeah, it's a band.
What
They
do
do
they
music.
play?
And
Oh,
they
yeah,
like paint their faces like
clowncore.
like black and white clowns. No, it's not really clownish.
Isn't it rap music?
Yeah, it's kind of like
Korn meets like
yeah.
or like yeah.
Meets
Did you ever
Eminem.
listen to Tech Nine? I'm guessing you did not, Cameron. I went to a Tech Nine concert one time. That was one of the scarier moments of my life.
Really.
Explain.
He has
How does
like
it how does it compare to your last 100 Gex concert that you went to?
100 Gex was way more refined, you guys. It left me feeling wholesome,
Okay, good.
but 100 Gex way more LGBTQ. No, Tech Nine is like I don't know if they're a gang or whatever they call themselves, but it was like he was a full-on cult leader, and then he's got his like 10 other guys on stage all rapping and stuff. But Tech Nine, he's got a lot of like lyrical skill. Like if you listen to his stuff, it's extremely creative. But he like got everyone in the crowd in a giant trance, and then there's like all these women, like on like what do you call that, on the guy's shoulders, and then they're like all taking their shirts off, and it's just like everybody in there was like locked in on this guy.
Women
like,
were taking
oh
the guys' shirts off.
Who knows nowadays? No, this was maybe 10 years. This is probably 12 years ago, actually.
Okay, people still knew what a woman was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you definitely knew that was a woman up there. But no, and just everyone is just on drugs and stuff, but it's just so much hype because they know how to manipulate the sound too. So it's like really like cool, intense music and like the beat. And then he's like saying all these like, quote unquote profound fucking words, even though it's basically empty. And it's just, it's like that circus, the bread and circuses times fucking 100. Because it's got the lights and the flashing and the technology and the visuals and all that, plus a bunch of people on stage and everything. And I was just like, this is fucking crazy. And I'm glad I'm out of that.
That word circus. Oh, dude. We should tell Cam about what Tim was sharing with us on that one hangout.
Oh, when he's like starting to question the foundation of reality. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but he went into like he went into the etymology of the word search, right?
I missed the first part. I found when he found the word party. That's part I remember.
Okay. So he went into the
Tim,
etymology.
German Tim, or who are you talking about?
No, different Tim.
Tim Pool.
Tim, the Tim
Yeah,
who looks
Tim
like
Pool.
lumberjack Tim.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay, Tim Pool came on the.
Yeah, Tim Pool came on the hangout and he was like, guys, because
He's like, guys,
yeah.
I don't want solutions. I just want a bitch.
That would be
Have you
what's
noticed
up.
that Have you noticed that he talks like Trump now?
Really? I haven't watched it.
How do you mean?
He
How do you
does these
mean?
very specific. It's like he'll be like, I
like
don't know.
perfunctory.
no,
Like-
he'll say like, he'll be like, I'm just trying to think of an example I could use. He'll be like, Antifa is tearing through the streets. Like he'll like start like
Yeah,
emphasizing these words. Like, and I'm not saying that's a Trump thing per se, but it's like after the whole Trump point, it's like he started doing more like
theatrical.
emotive points in his voice. Yeah, it's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
He's like developing his own little style, but it's very similar to like it's like he's putting emphasis on certain words when he's
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
look
what
at his headlines in his YouTube videos. It's like the most classic clickbaity thing.
It is
like
very
every time.
dramatic.
Yeah.
Very dramatic. And I'm like,
Insane policy by the liberals in the woke cities.
yeah.
and then he
like-
starts socking, and I'm like, that's all right. I get it. It's not.
I
that
watch
insane.
about the first 90 seconds. I'm like, okay, I think I know what's gonna happen. Okay, good.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what gets people to actually
Click.
click on it to
I
listen.
mean, yeah, that's why I'm
to
sure
come
millions
back.
of people watch his shit.
Yeah.
Okay, Samantha says it started with spec. She's right. It started with spec.
Oh, that Tim.
Yeah. So she said it started with spec. So he was
Like
because he was
SPECK.
no SPEC.
Oh,
He was,
spectator.
he was looking at like
Got it.
because he said he went
Inspector.
through in TT he went through like
Inspect.
some like the Latin words, right?
Okay.
And so what
Spec.
like so
Species.
he was going through the Latin words and he
Special.
was like, oh, spec.
Spectacular.
And then he started thinking of like, what are words that I know with spec? And he was like, yeah, spectacular and inspect and expect and like, all those things. And
Respect.
yeah.
Respect.
And then he started looking at the etymology of like, I don't know, somehow he got to the word search and he was like looking at the etymology of the word search. And he was like, oh, circus. What the heck? Like search is circus, right? And then looking at the etymology of circus, he's like, oh, a circus is actually to wander, right? To search.
Yeah, because they would like move around, right?
Yeah. And so it's really interesting because like if you're searching, you're wandering. You're like,
Right.
you're not, right? And it makes so much sense, right? And then like from circus, one of the definitions or like one of the words from the etymology was like carousel. And like we think of carousel as that thing that goes in a circle, right?
Yeah.
However, a carousel in like the medieval times was knights dueling. It was a duel. It was a fight. A carousel was a fight. And so it's like, whoa, you actually start going down these words. And like if you're searching, you're wandering, you're fighting with your fellow man, right? Like it's all in entertainment, essentially. And it's I'm bringing this up because what does Avery always say? Right? The search is over. It's a huge point within what we're doing. It's like people are going through their lives searching. They are lost. And they don't realize that what they're participating in is they're participating in the wandering of themselves, in fighting of themselves, a point where they're just going around in circles and they're not actually being here, being present. It's an entertainment within your mind. It's the circus of your mind.
Right. You're still searching for a feeling and you're still searching. Yeah, that's literally it. You're just searching for that feeling, which is the entertainment amusement point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
pretending like you're looking for something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find something, but it's like when it's spelled out in plain English, clearly, and the person still wants something else, something more, something different, something new.
Yeah.
Instead of because when you stop the search, then you're responsible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that's what
Right.
everybody's avoiding within the amusement point is, and it doesn't mean that you can't be amused, that you can't have fun, but that can't be starting point of everything.
It can't be the only thing that you do with your life is just amuse
Well,
yourself.
Would it be acceptable to seek amusement and the side effect is that it hurts people?
No.
People would say, no, you can do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt anybody, right? So the problem is we have this whole system which is seemingly so complex and like, it's like a bureaucratic organization where nobody's responsible for that. It's like, this person didn't stamp this thing. Well, that's not my problem. You have to get this form filled out. And over here, they're like, well, but you didn't do this part properly. And it's never like anyone taking the actual responsibility. So when you're talking about, well, I don't understand how me watching Game of Thrones at night, binging it on Netflix or whatever, what does that have to do with the war in Ukraine? I don't understand, I don't understand that, but that's just because you're not really looking into it far enough to how it all is the same system.
Actually, here's something I was just looking at while you were talking. It's sort of like, because I think most guys anyway wouldn't object to like having sex. That would be something that you want to do, that would be enjoyable, whatever. It's like, okay, but what if that was just forced upon you? And I'm not saying that amusement is forced upon you. You have to accept it, right? But what I'm saying is like the point of the point of like, you don't want that all the time. Like, that's not like you just live for this, right? At a certain point, you would call that like basically rape, right? It's like if you're just only participating in that point and you're missing out on, or like you had to just do that. You had to just do that, right? But it's like the way that people participate in watching television or TikTok or whatever, it's like you're not even directing yourself. It's like you're just like, you're compelled to do it almost, even though you can direct yourself out of it. But it's like you're basically participating to the point where it's like, I'm stuck. This thing is like so.
Well, no, look, it's yes, there's a compulsion point, but you have to look at what the person wasn't programmed for.
What do you mean?
Like, Rebecca had this cool post. I don't know if it was a post or a comment. It was this cool, I think it was a post she made talking about, trying to remember, I don't remember the exact words, but it was something to the effect of like, it was that, what was that point? It was like, it was like the feral children point. She was talking about the feral child and how the feral child proves that, because so for those who don't know, feral child is, a child who from a very young age was left out to kind of survive on their own, let's say like in the wilderness, and was adopted by animals and basically became very like much an animal. They don't speak because they weren't around people. And there's been examples of this where it's like they're basically like little wolves or animals or whatever they were raised by, and it's very hard to integrate them into society. You can look it up, feral, F-E-R-A-L, children. Well, anyway, she was making this point about how it proves the point that human beings per se don't judge anything in themselves, because the human being is not pre-programmed to judge. So the baby, the infant, the toddler, or whatever, at a certain age they start to judge. But before that, and what I mean by judge in this context is they're left out in the wilderness, right? There's some wolves. They're at an age where their natural learning ability is still wide open. They're just like, I'm going to copy that. It's not even a conscious decision. It's like, I'm copying this. It's just automatically copying it.
Yeah.
And for a fact, if that children wasn't put in that situation and they were just in the home, they would become like a person, like a human, like they would copy language and all that stuff, right? So her point was just like the insight within that is, when you look at how people behave as adults, you're looking at what was the input that was put in the very beginning. It's not at this stage really a judgment the person's making. Does that make sense? The point about entertainment is not like the person's like, I'm free from all, in the kind of your point about the compulsion. It's like, I'm free from all influence and I'm just choosing to entertain myself.
Right.
It's like, no, you were programmed from a very young age. And my point was to look at what they weren't programmed with. They weren't programmed with purpose. What's the point of being alive, knowing who you really are, any of that stuff. And so and they were programmed with examples of people just amusing themselves, going to work all day, doing something just for the money, and everything else was just amusement. And it's like, I'm not saying amusement is bad. It's just that the context of amusement in our world is to fill the time when we're not trying to survive. But the way in which we even do it, it just continues and perpetuates the survival system.
It just justifies the survival.
Like, I'm sure you guys have experienced this, like when you cook a meal, right? That's really good for your family. That's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Is it? I would say intrinsically, it's, unless you're under for some reason, a lot of stress in the moment. Let's assume you're not for a moment. It's more enjoyable than watching a movie.
Yeah, definitely.
It really is. Like, it's not that a movie can't be enjoyable, but the kind of enjoyment it is, it's a very escape type enjoyment. Something can be very difficult physically and challenging and mundane and boring to a certain degree, and yet still be more satisfying ultimately than watching a movie. Like, you've never cooked a really great meal and spent a lot of time and effort, and then at the end felt like empty. You might feel tired, you might feel exhausted, but you're not like, you ever gone to the movie theater? I mean, I experienced this. Like, you go to the movie theater, you come out of the movie theater and you're like, oh,
everybody's talking. Everybody's talking at the movie theater. You ever have that? No?
Well, I grew up in white culture, so we're all very polite. We don't talk during the movie.
Wow.
No, but that experience of like, you go outside and then you open the doors and it's like bright outside and you're like, and then it's just like, okay, I'm back in reality now.
Yeah.
Because for a while you were just in a movie basically. And so you're not in reality. You're just passively watching something. Is it bad? I'm not saying it's bad, but let's just talk about some average random person who enjoys this. Like, their idea of when they can do anything that's not compulsory, like just survival, like I'm in school or I'm going to work or something. It's like, let's go watch a movie.
Yeah.
You're hanging out with your friends. What do you do? Watch a movie. We never do that. Like, if we do that, it's because it's like 1 a.m. and we still want to hang out. And it's like, hey, there's this cool movie. Let's watch that. But it wasn't like we're just watching movies all day.
Okay.
What?
Let me just qualify this cool movie. Okay.
Oh, when you say cool movie, obviously you're talking about Brazil. I know.
Cam has an idea of cool movies.
Hey, did you like Primer?
I did like Primer. I did.
Yeah.
That one was cool. All of the other ones have not been
I've only
cool.
ever recommended 2 movies to you.
No.
Primer and Brazil. What is the other ones?
Her.
You didn't like that?
No, I didn't.
RoboCop. Well, I inferred you were recommending that.
RoboCop.
Yeah,
I didn't
you're like, when I
recommend
was
it.
4, I watched RoboCop.
Yeah, that was more like, can you see the gratuitous fuck? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say Her was a great movie. It's not like, it's more of like you got to watch this to see.
No, I get it now. I get it now.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But my book recommendations are
Want to know what
recommendations are A1?
What quote summarizes this whole thing up, right? Is like it's one of those Avery quotes, right? Is stop being greedy, start being grateful. Because like when you're looking for that next thing, you're just being greedy. You only give a fuck about yourself and your emotions. You're like, okay, next thing. When you're like actually grateful, like in the real sense of the word, not the bullshit greedy version of grateful, but like you're truly appreciative of what you have. It's like, it's that responsibility piece. It's like, you know what you have and you're here to expand it. And that makes all the difference, right?
Yeah, mindless entertainment. We call it mindless, obviously, but it's mindful, really. It's not creative. And then the people who even created it were just doing it to survive.
Yeah.
There may be some within it who are getting some kind of creative expression within it, obviously, but it's a survival point. You're not creating anything, you're not producing anything, which I'm not saying that at every moment, everyone always has to be producing something for it to be of value. It's just, it's a consumption. It's literally, let's produce something so that it can be consumed. and that's it. There's no real value that you're creating anything. It's like,
You know,
what's
people
more
used to-
important? Yeah.
People used to die of consumption. I
Yeah.
just find that so interesting. You know,
What do you mean? Like
they-
gluttony?
No, there was a disease that they called consumption. It was
That's just
tuberculosis.
tuberculosis. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just find it really interesting because it's like people die of consumption now, not tuberculosis. I mean, yes, people still die of tuberculosis, but like literally, like, okay, if you participated in the whole COVID vaccine and all of that, like you consumed some media that got you to consume their product, which then had physical effects on your body and your life. And for some people, it was death. But it's not just that. It's like there's literally, so many things that we consume in our lives that are actually contributing to our death.
Dude, think about it. If you're sitting here, talk about the point of being grateful. You're sitting here and I'm just want to entertain myself.
Yeah.
You're taking this, it's like, okay, you know what it's like? Imagine you found an alien spaceship that could travel through dimensions. And like you could travel at the speed of light without feeling any of the effects of gravity or anything. And you could visit anywhere and you could do anything. And it had like a matter compiler where you could create any tool or any like thing you wanted, right? And then you're just sitting there in it watching Netflix. You just sit there. You don't even turn it on. You don't go anywhere. You just sit there and watch Netflix on like the big screen. You're like, check out this big screen. That's the point of, and it's really easy to take these things, to take our reality for granted, but it's simply because of the programming. And so it's not about a judgment on anyone. It's just more a matter of why aren't we supporting kids to really have full access? Now, why did you watch Netflix? Because when you sat in that spaceship, you were like, I don't fucking know how to fly this thing.
I'm just
like, I don't know how to turn on this commander. It's like, it's all alien language and stuff. You're like, I don't fucking know like how to do any of this stuff.
And your parents yelled at you and scolded you whenever you tried to do it. And you
don't touch those buttons. Don't ever touch buttons.
Yeah.
You should just know to push that button.
Come on, now you should know to push it.
You bring a girl over to your alien spacecraft. Hey, check this out. Just like, oh my gosh, where are we going? No.
Look at this big screen. Yeah.
Netflix comes on. Like, we can watch any shit. Like it's not country.
They're like watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, wow, look at the storyline.
Hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So insane.
Yeah.
So insane.
But no, I that's basically what we're doing in our minds, right? Like just even that. It's like you're just entertaining yourself in your mind. And so I know Cam's not saying there's nothing inherently wrong with amusement. It's like we take that to the extreme where it's literally in our minds. We are amusing.
Well, I'm saying that because then people think it's like you have to not be amused, or they would just go into a fear point of like, well, I can never have any fun anymore. And it's like, if it's an in the moment byproduct of what you're doing, that's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean, but also we've talked about this before. Like if you're avoiding things that aren't fun, you're never going to change anything in this system, because then you're going to deliberately avoid stuff, and there's going to be things that are hard to do and the resistance and so forth. It's just more a matter of this. It's the searching. It's exactly that same point we were talking about. It's the searching.
But also at a certain point, you get to redefine fun. Like it's like the easiest example I could give to a person who's not really deep in this process yet is like when you go to the gym. It fucking sucks sometimes. Like if you really push yourself, it's not fun. It doesn't feel good. And afterwards you're sore. But a week later, you're like, damn, I'm pretty happy I did that. I feel better. It's like, that is like a little tiny example. But when you're doing this process, you're actually stepping up. You're talking to people around you. You're, speaking up and speaking out. You're actually making hard decisions. It feels like shit a lot of the time. But a month later, you're like, wow, I wouldn't have wanted to do anything else.
I was just thinking though, like, with the gym point, and it's not a judgment in, I guess, anyone who goes to the gym. It's so artificial, and it's like it's like I have to go to this place for this purpose to work out, because otherwise I'm not going to get any of that. And some people have a very specific goal of like bodybuilding. And I understand in that context, you need to go and be specific and do that. But most people, that's not their starting point, is to like,
It's like a weird
chiseled
thing.
bodybuilder who's like, you have to do it for 8 hours. So, you know what I mean? That being said, like if you, like, let's just say you weren't programmed with, you want to get in shape, you got to go to the gym, right? What activities could you do with your friends on a regular basis where, here's my point. Imagine all of us came over to like your place, Mitch, and like you were like, hey, let's build something.
Literally,
like you had this idea of,
we literally did this yesterday. Me and Jess have been wanting to add fruit trees because we want to have like a full-on food forest, and we've been talking about it since we moved in. And now we got like 12 trees. And then yesterday we literally like, I think it was like 5 or 6 of us guys were like planting trees, and it was like, there's some fucking heavy trees. They're like shoveling shit, and it's like raining and everything, but it was so much fun, and you got to work out.
So why couldn't that be done every day?
Yeah.
Because people have to survive. They're going to work, right? And so a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, it doesn't seem to fit into where things are at right now. But that should make you question, what are all the barriers to things like that? Like, why isn't it every day? Okay. That was yesterday, Saturday, right?
Yep.
So how come and just thinking idealistically, how come Sunday it can't be like, okay, you're going to Pedro's house and everyone's putting trees there. And then Monday you're going to Joe's place. And then Tuesday you're going to, whoever's. And it's like, for a whole week you did that. And that was your working out. It doesn't obviously have to be trees every day. It could be, now you're building a barn, or now you're building this, or you're doing that, or you guys are just going on a hike together. It doesn't have to be like you're creating something per se. But if you did stuff like that, and then, I mean, how often do you guys all get together and you watch movies?
I think I watched one movie one time with Pedro, and we watched 300.
Right. And now it's like you watch a movie and you're like, okay, I want to see what's in this. Like, what's, the point? And sometimes it can just be fun to watch it, but
yeah,
there's usually like, it's a more specific starting point behind
it. Yeah, we actually watch it for a specific reason.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like the reason I brought it up though is because you made that point about how like going to the gym, it fucking sucks. You don't want to do it and all that. And it's like, it's because you got to get up early. You got to get it done before you go to work. There's like all these reasonings, and there's also like things that are programmed in as resistance and so forth, but it doesn't have to be like that. Even it doesn't, because then you might think, well, okay, there's just things we're just going to have to do. And there are going to be some of those things, but your daily life, your amusement doesn't have to be, okay, it just really sucks. And then I'm just grateful I did it later. I know there's going to be stuff like that, but a lot of times it's just because we're not being creative within it and we're not really creating anything. The gym thing usually is kind of very self-interested only, whereas you can get the same workout planting trees. Maybe not the same workout, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's interesting. I just was remembering, there was this like newsletter thing I was reading the other day, is this entrepreneurial person, but they had a really fascinating idea, and I've been like playing with it. They said, because they own a bunch of companies and stuff and have some pre-programming for it, and they're saying there's, from their perspective, there's efficient days and effective days, and sometimes it's not the same thing. So an efficient day is like when you get a lot of shit done, but an effective day is like when you make one decision that like changes a bunch of stuff. I was looking at that and I was like, oh, why would you have to classify that just as days? Like, what if it's just effective moments and efficient moments? And it could be one and the same. But I was realizing this point of, it's like when you create your life in such a way where you are doing these things, right? You're building community, you're sharing, everything this is about, where you're planting trees, whatever, just doing cool shit. Sometimes in those moments, I will have an insight, or I'll be having a conversation with someone that will help me break through to this next way of seeing things. I was like, holy shit, how did I miss that? Like all week when I was like doing the thing, it was like I missed it. But then when we were all together or like in a new environment or whatever, it was like I was having some breakthrough. Like, wow. Like yesterday, for example, I understood the word leverage way more, like way more. And it was so cool because no amount of books could do that. No amount of podcasts could do that. Like even doing I mean, obviously the technotutor is essential so I could see it, but you'll have those times where when you engineer your life and you have really cool people around you that have these principles and who are doing technotutor, so they're freaking smart. And then you have these type of conversations. It's like, I learned more in that moment. It was just a little one-off conversation with a couple of the guys where it was like very effective in the sense of I had a huge breakthrough and I saw things from a way expanded perspective. Do you guys notice that when you're like sometimes not expecting it, you have that big freaking
The
breakthrough?
1.2 is you're also doing your process every day. You can
Yeah.
say hi. They
Hi.
can hear you.
Hi guys.
Hey,
What's up,
Max.
Max?
I'll move over a little bit if you want.
Hey, how you doing, Max?
Say hi. Hey,
What have you
Dan.
been up-
Oh, I want to tell you something weird,
Go for
but
it.
it's true. We bought like chickens
You
yesterday.
bought how many chickens? Dang.
Some are
Nice.
light purple.
Light purple. What?
You have a
What?
light purple chicken? Wait. Max,
I missed something.
we
It
missed
cut
the
out
quantity
Two light
of
purple
chickens.
chickens.
two light purple chickens.
Yes,
Why are you saying light purple?
because they're light purple.
What are they called?
Lavender.
Yeah, they're like
Lavender chickens. I did not know that was a thing. Max, how many chickens did you guys get overall?
I think 9.
Nice.
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 I heard you got some puppies as well. How is it with the new puppies?
I think they're great.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What have you been up to?
Just sitting in there.
Just sitting in there. Did you do your TT?
Max, have you learned any great words recently that you found to be like really helpful or effective?
In terms of techno tutor, not
Or
really.
what about generally?
Yeah,
He's
like
just
from the
like
books
level
you read.
5, so a lot of the words he knows.
Mhm.
What about some chess stuff you want to talk about?
Do you know what a double attack is?
What's a double
Nope.
attack?
All right, so a double attack is basically when, like, let's say this is a bishop, and here's a rook, and here's a king. The bishop is aiming at both the rook and the king, so the king has to move out because that's what the rules of chess are. And once that happens, you can take the rook.
Yeah.
Hey,
But if that rook was defended, you could still do that. But if the bishop instead was a queen, I don't think you wanted to capture the rook because it's defended.
Right. That's a
Yeah.
Wow.
great strategy.
Max, I have a
Is
Do you know what is?
fork
Oh,
a
fork? Yeah.
is
Yeah,
actually
tell me.
just a double attack, or maybe more than just one, just 2 pieces being attacked. But it's always done by a knight.
Hmm.
That's the description of a fork.
What about, do you want to tell Mitch and Drake about like the variant stuff you've been looking at?
I've been looking at 4-player chess. That's actually a very interesting one.
wow, I did not know that was a thing.
Have you played?
That sounds actually pretty
four-player
fun.
Chess?
4-player chess is actually really fun.
Have you played it yet?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I can actually play it versus you sometime.
Yeah, we could.
But I don't want anyone else playing on there, so I'm just gonna fill it in with feeder bots.
Oh, okay. That's how we do it. All right. Yeah, last time it was just us two, and so we needed 2 more players. But I see what we can do. That's cool.
Yeah. So in fact, when are you available to do that?
I don't know. But you guys can text me later, and we can figure out a time.
But anyways, I was thinking, I was like, I think you guys would like to know my most recent thing I've learned about chess.
Yeah, tell us.
Something called a royal fork,
A royal fork.
which is a fork of the king and queen, and maybe both rooks, or just one rook.
Yeah. That's a pretty intense fork.
Yeah, it's a queen and a king, and probably both rooks or one rook.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're always gonna and in those kind of forks, you're supposed to always capture the queen.
That
Probably.
makes sense.
And, after he does something after that, like let's say he moves his king again, which is actually really stupid, you can move your knight back to where he came from, and you're forking both rooks.
Mm.
But if you move the rook, well, he actually could move his king back, and that's actually really nice. So you know what you could do?
What's that?
Could just take a rook.
Yep.
You could fork him again, fork both rooks. After he moves, take his rook, and then if he moves back, fork him again. We're kind of double attack now. And then when he moves his king out of danger, take the rook, and look, his both rooks already gone. And that only do that if your opponent is very dumb. I'm not going to do that against me, Drake.
That's funny.
I
That's
didn't even
funny.
develop my queen until like the
Yeah.
one of my rooks. I almost never do it. Develop it.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. No, that's good strategy, man. That's really good strategy.
Yeah.
Why is it important to take the queen if you can?
Well, because she's the most powerful piece,
That's right.
and she can actually checkmate by herself, except for the king. A king and a rook can too, though. So that's why I want you to get rid of the rooks too.
Yep. Yep. That's true. That's all true.
Have you been practicing any like your in-game checkmates with like the rook and king and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I would have won against you, Cam.
Yeah.
And that time when it was like next by the chipmunk versus gold road
Oh, yeah.
potato.
We drew yesterday.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
because I stupidly let him capture my last pawn.
Yeah, he goes, I was like, why are you doing that? And he's like, I want to let you draw. I'm like, okay. Otherwise he was gonna beat me. He was
Wow. Nice, Max.
Actually,
hold on. Who's forcing you to learn chess?
no one.
That's hilarious.
Why do you like chess?
Because it's just chess.
Well, yeah, but why do you like it?
Well, because it's fun.
Do you think there was somebody named Chess? Like it was short for Chessica? And like their nickname was just Chess?
Maybe Chester?
Max has been studying all these like chess variants
Yeah.
where it's like other pieces. I think you saw that one night, right? There's like a
XXL chess.
XXL chess. Yeah.
Did you remember that? Did you remember that? Did you remember that piece like that looked like a knight sitting on top of a queen?
Yeah.
The Amazon.
Yeah.
Actually, the most powerful piece in all chess variants.
Yeah.
Queen and a knight.
I think
What
you
is it
captured mine
called?
really early.
Matt, what's it called?
Amazon.
An Amazon? Wow.
That's Amazon.
Wow.
It's actually worth
Interesting.
12 points.
12 points. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Actually, think about it. It makes logical sense. The queen is the bishop plus the rook, and the bishop plus the rook would be 8 points.
Yeah, but the queen is usually worth 9 points.
Well, all right, but the queen plus, like, they got it's worth 12 points. The Amazon. So they got add 3 plus 9, and you get
Yeah,
12.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes
So
sense.
that's actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know there was variations of chess.
Yeah, I didn't know either until he showed me.
There's even one called Chennis. And it's like the board looks like a little tennis court.
Oh, that's
Wow.
Yeah, it's got like the sidelines, and it's got like 2 courts, but the kings can only go into net and not into their enemy's court, and then neither of them can go to either of the sidelines. And always the pieces come in pairs. Whenever you move a piece or capture with a piece, it changes into its counterpart.
You know what's funny?
The soldier, which just moves sideways, up, right, or left. No, right, up, or left. and its counterpart. So whenever you move a soldier, it changes into a bishop. Wherever you move the bishop, it changes back into a soldier.
There was one variant he was playing where like
so the bishop soldier pair is not bound to one color. That means, unlike the real bishop.
oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
Soldier.
There was one variant where like the pawn piece, instead of moving up and capturing diagonally, it moves diagonally and it would capture
Up. Yeah, isn't that called like?
Wow.
Hoplite. Oh yeah, that was the Spartan chess. Yeah, the version called Spartan
Oh,
chess.
and did you know Spartan chess had 2 kings?
No, I didn't know.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Did it have a queen as well?
The other.
And there's a Mayan chess he was doing where it's like you have a king and a divine king, and then
Yeah,
there's
but the king has to promote to be a divine.
you can promote the king to get a divine king. All this. That's really cool.
Oh
It's-
yeah, it had to do religious, like religious mind.
It's funny because I didn't look at any of those variants. It's sort of like, you know how we were talking earlier about like you're in an
Ever heard
alien
of pie
spaceship?
chess? Have you ever heard of pie chess?
No.
Oh, here. You have your computer with you?
I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm
I
not
just
gonna
want
do
you
it
to
right
look.
now.
It's just a website that has all the variants.
yeah,
Okay.
That's actually where I learned about the
Pi as
chess.
in like Python.
Okay. Oh, I would not have guessed that.
Here, why don't we read him some of the articles about like how it works?
Well, we can do that later.
Yeah,
I
we
just
could do that later.
It doesn't make sense to read the articles.
Hey, I have to resolve something because our power's not.
There's Jessica.
Hey, Max.
And Aristotle.
There's Chess with a big baby. You know Aristotle's birthday's tomorrow.
I didn't know
Do you know he'll be
that.
1 year old?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at how big he is.
He's actually almost as big as Caius.
Yeah,
He might be.
probably.
Yeah.
Honestly, he might be bigger than Caius at this point. He's huge, Max.
He's like an Amazon.
He's an
Well,
Amazon.
he's
An
walking.
Amazon is a very
around
tall
now.
woman, so Jess is an Amazon.
Yeah, it's like I feel like the most powerful piece in chess, the
Right.
Amazon.
That's why her name is Jess.
That was
It's
good.
pretty funny.
Going on at the homestead, Jess.
Well,
What's going on
the-
the homestead, Jess?
well, our chickens are laying 10 to 12
Hey,
eggs per day now.
speaking
So
of
that's pretty
chickens,
great.
did you know we got purple chickens?
Purple.
Well, they're light purple. They're actually called lavender. They're all
Wow, that's
lavender.
lovely. Is it their eggs lavender or their feathers?
The feathers. They're kind of like a blue gray, like a light gray, like a very light lavender.
Very nice.
Hmm.
And we
Well, they're
planted.
called lavender. I mean, lavender.
Lavender Wyandottes. They're really pretty.
That sounds pretty.
We heard you guys planted some trees yesterday.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. They are. A majority of them are fruit producing trees. So
You love showing articles. You love sharing.
All right. I'll pull
So a
it up.
bunch of them are apple, and then some cherry, and
Let me
we
see.
planted
wait,
some
wait,
river
wait.
birch to prevent erosion by our creek. And
I'll send it to Drake.
we also planted a really beautiful lilac tree and also a crabapple tree for the birds. So lots of fun trees. I want to plant some peaches and some pears if I can still this year. If not, we have to do it in the spring. And we had a ton of rain all day yesterday and last night. And some reason the power went out this morning, but it went out for the whole block, so not
Did you
just
hear
for
what
us.
he's saying? Did you hear what he's saying? He's saying,
Huh?
He said, "Did you hear what Aristotle is saying?"
Oh yeah.
He goes, "Eh?"
"Ee."
I think he was saying trees.
By the way, did you plant fruit trees?
Yeah.
Who planted?
Yeah, river birch.
Jess and Mitch
Yep.
and Pedro and all the people that were there yesterday.
Did you beam all the plants, trees? They weren't food trees.
It was
They were
Max,
plant
Max, it
trees.
was so funny. It was so funny, Max. Pedro was outside without a shirt on and without shoes on, and they were digging the holes and filling the holes with dirt. And so they were just shoveling a bunch, and because it was raining, and so he was soaked. He was just soaked. And he's like, I got in my grounding for the week. And we got a bunch of pictures of him. And Mitchell's like, he's the next Abercrombie Finch model.
Did he have like his like pants rolled up, or was he when he was wearing shorts? I don't know.
I don't know, but they were jeans.
Hey, guys, I
What?
can sanitize this higher than him.
Yeah, Max is already taller than me. Isn't that crazy? Wait. You know what though? I have this magic coffee. If I drink too much, that's the reverse effect. It's kind of like Alice in Wonderland.
With the power out, we can't make more coffee unless we build a fire or turn the generator on. So
You have a gas stove or you have electric?
we have a gas stove, but it requires a little bit of electricity to
You just use a lighter.
To spark it.
start.
No, you just
Yeah.
use a lighter. You just turn the
Potentially.
gas on and just use a lighter.
Potentially, I could definitely try
We've
that.
had to do that before too. As long as you have a kettle, like metal.
I don't have a kettle, but I have a pot.
Yeah.
I could really just
Oh
use a
yeah, you
pot.
can use a pot. We do that too.
All
That's cool.
right, you solved that problem for me if I'm desperately needing coffee.
Right, but first of all, I want to show them that article,
What? Which article do you want to show?
the pie chess article.
Okay, hold on.
I just want to show them because Here.
Max is gonna share. He wants to show an article.
Can I send?
He wants to be in the captain's chair.
Here, I'll raise it up for you.
As hot.
Go up.
So I'm gonna. So
Okay.
seriously, what I want to share is like talking about solar variants. So you know how I was talking about chess variants earlier?
Yeah.
What kind of chess variants would you like to learn about? It's like talking about it here. How about you learn about Aegean chess?
Okay.
So I know that looks different than normal chess, right?
Yeah, because the pawns
Yeah.
are a whole row ahead.
Oh, and look at the queen. And the bishops.
Yeah.
So look,
Interesting.
there's the queen. The queen can only move once.
And the moves are different too. Wow,
Yeah.
this would change the whole game.
Hey, but
Very interesting.
now, like, look, that's actually called the furs. Hey, by the way, speaking of the furs, I'm gonna look at Chinnis because it has a furs in it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
So it has cannon furs, rook pawn, bishop soldier, knight mare, and cannon furs. So there's a soldier, the mare. It's like a king. Furs, cannon. That cannon could capture either of those pieces.
Oh. Wow. All right, so go to the XXL chess. I want to see the article for that.
There is an XXL chess in here.
Oh,
Oh, it's not in this article?
But I could talk about Manson Dam.
Okay.
So look at this.
Uh-huh.
Like that's like a pawn.
Yeah.
That's
you already know about this one, or are you just looking at it?
I'm just
Do
telling
the Spartan
everyone.
one because that's one that you knew
The
about.
Spartan, I like that one.
Yeah, show them that one. You can explain it, but actually explain it because other people want to hear you talk.
So like basically the
go back
Persians,
up here.
the Persians are the white pieces and the blacks are the Spartans.
Okay.
So the Spartans are the actual different pieces. There are the Persian pieces are unchanged from normal chess.
But go back up and explain these ones so people
So
can see everything.
so basically this is actually they explains it like in pictures, everything down.
Yeah.
So this is how it's the starting position is.
But we're on a podcast, so you're explaining it to everyone else.
So basically, like these are lieutenants, these are whites.
How does that work? Explain how those pieces work.
Well, it's down later in the article.
I know.
I think this is called the shake. No, it's called like the Josh. capture. But here's the warlord, which moves like an archbishop, a bishop plus a knight. These are just kings. You have to capture one of them to checkmate the other.
What are those crosses?
Those are lieutenants.
Oh no, I meant this one, like the shield looking thing.
Oh yeah, those are captains.
What do they do?
They move 2 squares in any direction except for any direction diagonally. I'll talk about it. There are 4 new unique units to the Spartans: 8 hoplites, 1 warlord, 1 general, 2 lieutenants, and 2 captains.
Hmm.
King. He moves like a chess orthodox king.
Okay.
1 can be captured normally, but 2nd mated if Spartans lose. Also, in both kings, hexless seamlessly.
Okay. What about the hoplite? Show me that one. Is that
Yeah.
basically like a pawn?
No, it's actually the opposite of a pawn.
Got it.
It's essentially a Berlina pawn. A hoplite moves but cannot capture one side diagonally forwards and captures.
Okay.
A hoplite moves but captures forwards. Additionally, a hoplite can move 1 or 2 squares diagonally. His first move. This 2 square movement is also a jumping movement, which means it can hop over intervening pieces.
Oh, okay.
As stated above, upon reaching the 8th rank, a hoplite can promote to any Spartan piece. This includes a king if there is only 1 king remaining.
Wow. Okay.
Any Spartan piece. Can it promote to another hoplite? I don't think so.
So the Spartans don't have any kind of queens. They just have like 2 kings. They have to
actually-
capture 1. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I guess their queen would kind of be like their warlord.
Okay.
Because that's their most powerful piece.
Oh, I see. The warlord is kind of like the Amazon that you were telling me about before.
No, it's actually not the same. Except, well, it's an Amazon without rook movement.
Gotcha. So it's diagonal. It can do both diagonals, and then the knight moves.
Look, see Archbishop? That's how it moves.
Yeah, I see.
Captain moves 1 or 2 squares in any direction. Orthogonally, he can jump over a blocking friendly enemy pieces to reach the 2nd square. Lieutenant Tagrestos moves 1 or 2 squares in any direction diagonally, or can move but not capture.
Oh, I see.
Square sideways.
That makes sense.
It can jump over blocking friendly enemy pieces to reach the 2nd square.
Makes sense.
So here's the piece valuation. Warlord 8, General 7, Extra King 5, Lieutenant 3, Captain 3, Hoplite 1. Spartan Chattery. Closed game. So Fanlink that's cool. Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like pawns on the same diagonal. 2 kings in play, advance and attack. Them too. You know what? In fact, I actually beat a fairy stockfish with just not using any other pieces except for 2 kings. I just kept my other pieces in.
That's cool. Okay, Max, why don't we take a break? Because we're going to probably wrap up the podcast because we have our parenting call coming up in a little bit.
Sure. When is
Okay.
the time?
It's about noon, but I want to do some things before then.
I was just going to talk about one more.
Okay, talk about one
kind,
more and then we're
which
going to
is
stop.
Shogun. It's
Okay.
actually pretty big, but I think you'll like it. So, says how this sandwich chess. Queen starts as promoted piece, just by having a new unpromoted form, the Duchess.
Okay.
So, but pawns can promote if capturing by armed pawn. Wait, pawns cannot promote.
Oh, so basically, when a piece is captured, it goes to its
Archbishop.
unpromoted.
So, hey, remember the Archbishop, the warlord,
Yeah,
He covers a lot. Or
the
the cannon
mortar?
or the mortar.
mortar. Okay.
Chancellor at A. That's actually one I know about more. But the mortar, I actually, yeah.
Hmm.
Often with other names as the Chancellor or Marshal. I've only actually heard of it as called the Chancellor.
Hmm.
The General is a hybrid piece, often known as Centaur. And in this game, it promotes from the knight and gains the moves that king.
That's cool. So you don't start with it necessarily.
No, he promotes from the knight.
Okay.
Wait,
Let me have the computer back.
I just want to talk about the rest of this.
I know you do, but
So the
we're gonna
captain
stop for a moment, okay?
is a non-royal piece. Capturing captain is not in the game. Also, there can be multiple captions, not a major piece. Duchess is only the demoted form of the queen. It only comes into play after capturing a queen, where it then becomes a duchess in hand.
Okay,
A
how about that?
duchess cannot promote to a queen. Not. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop this
Let's
share
talk
for a
about
minute.
the. Wait, well,
We can talk about that. We can talk about that more with Drake later.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's really cool though, because you see, like, when I was his age, like, he'll be 7 in basically a month, literally a month.
Yeah.
Max, don't do that right now because it's making a lot of noise. Okay. I could not read like that when I was 7.
Yeah.
Like, he can go through there. I mean, he's been like cutting out, like, he'll like print off all those little pictures and then cut them out. So then he has like his little chess pieces, and then at night he's been playing with me and Seneca, like his little variants, and teaching us all the different points and everything, right? And it's just fascinating because when I was 7, like, I mean, I couldn't have just read that.
Yeah.
Processed all of it. And maybe I could have said the words, but I wouldn't have processed it all and like figured it out and everything. And then he's playing like bots online and beating them.
That's hilarious.
You know? And then I was watching him yesterday beating. He was playing on Chess Kid.
Actually, I've been playing more people in bots.
I know. I was going to talk about that. He like heard me saying that as he was closing the door. And then he's been beating kids like above his rank. Because like when he first started, he was losing a lot, or just like resign really quickly or whatever, you know. And then so his rank was going down. Now he's like, not that I care per se about the rank, you know, but it's just showing like, hey, look, he's making progress, and he's beating kids like, you know, 100 points above him and so forth, right? And he's doing like little puzzle duels and everything. So it's really cool because there's obviously not any intrinsic value in chess. It's just a game. But it is funny because if you're like, oh, this person's a chess grandmaster, people have this like, what is the word? It's like an association with that person must be really smart.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, wow. Like it's like seen as prestigious or something in our world for some reason, you know? And I guess just because of all the movies and impulsing that's done around it, you know what I mean?
I guess it's really
kind of like mathematics. Like, you must be really smart if you know mathematics, when it's literally just a vocabulary set. Same with chess, right? Just a vocabulary set.
Yeah.
And to the point where, you know, there's computers that no human can ever beat.
Right.
Like, so it's just vocabulary in the human world, and people understand stuff. But the computer that can calculate every move and find the best move, they can never beat it.
Right.
You know, and you probably will never. Now, even if people can beat it, there'll be another one that they won't be able to. So it's not really a lot of intrinsic value per se.
And there goes scam. That's it. It's done. It's over. That is the end of the podcast. That's it.
You know, at 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, you're back.
Okay. There's like chess prodigies, but then there's the kids who, like, when they're 8 or 9 or 10, learn chess and get really good at it. But you can see how if you had a vocabulary and reading ability like Max, you could get a head start on that by 3 years. You know what I mean? So think about someone like a Magnus Carlsen, if they could read even earlier and had a higher vocabulary, how much better they could be. Not that it's about being that person or something, but it's just really cool watching him do all this, because we're not teaching him chess. You know what I mean? He's
Right.
learning all of this on his own, going way beyond. He has way more time than I do to study chess. So he's able to learn all that stuff. And then Seneca's doing the same thing. Like she's sitting there right along with him, reading all the books and doing the lessons and all that stuff. She could come in here and talk about forks and double attacks and all that stuff too. It's crazy. Right. But it's just a consequence of, again, input in. And that's why I asked him, like, who's forcing you to learn this stuff? No one. The input is there.
Yeah.
You see, so when we were talking about the amusement and entertainment point earlier, that's what was inputted into the child, was entertain yourself, amuse yourself. There's no purpose, you know, but it's like at a certain point, I think you can get burnt out of that. You know, I think that was that point you were making about when you're like forced to do it to the point of it's like too much, you know?
Yeah.
And a cool book that kind of illustrates that point is the Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect.
Right.
So like, what if you could entertain yourself infinitely? You know, eventually you're just going to get bored with it and be like, I want physical reality again. That's really like the premise of the book, right?
Right.
So
Right. It's yeah, I like that. Just the point that, well, first off, no one's forcing them. The input that they're getting is to learn, and not just learn, but
no, the input is words. That's the input.
yes, but let me clarify. Obviously, the input is words, but they're able to learn without feeling like learning is hard.
Right.
They don't have that. Like there's none, and you can't fake that. Like, you know, you can tell your kids like, no, you love to learn or whatever, but it's got to come from them.
Here's the funny thing, okay, which people may or may not have picked up on. The reason why he wanted to get on that website and share it with you, and he started clicking on ones that he hasn't studied before. That's why I had to like get him like, no, do one that you know about, so he would talk about it.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be on there and start learning more things. He didn't care that he's on a podcast. He doesn't care that other people that's not, because like we limit the amount of time that they do computers, and he's not supposed to do computers currently until like noon. Or I think it's like 1 o'clock right now.
Yeah.
So he was like, oh, you know, like, let's share that. I could see what was going on. It's fine, you know, but it's just cool because just to illustrate that point of the learning, he was just like, I want to study some more different variants and stuff. So he was like finding a way he could get on there. And then, you know, isn't that cool?
Yeah, it's
but just to your point about learning, like they love learning new stuff. Like if I get a book about anything, you know, it just depends on if the context is there or not. You know, sometimes the context isn't there, but that just means more input. That input wasn't there for them to have enough to grasp onto.
And so I was bringing up that point because it's like they are capable of learning anything without that feeling of this is hard or I don't want to learn or anything like that. And also they're given the starting point of, hey, we are here to create a world that is best. Like I've been, you know, in the home when you're having like conversations like that, where it's not like okay, everybody, we're having a lecture. Let's talk about what's best for all. It's just kind of like on a daily basis, like we're looking at certain points and they'll be asking like, hey, why is this homeless person here? Or, you know, on the side of the street, not at your house. or like, you know, why do we have to do this? Or like, what is, why doesn't everybody have this? Or, you know, things like that. And then you'll just explain, you know, and then it's always with the starting point of, yeah, you know, that's currently the way that the world is, but we are actually doing something about that. That's why we're here with TechnoTutor. That's why we're sharing this. That's why we do the things that we do. That's why we're developing your vocabulary so you can understand this and you can, you know, you can use your talents to do the best things. And then like, it's cool because the way that they are creative, you see, obviously they play, they have fun, you know, they're kids, right? But also the way that they're creative, I've seen Max come over and be like, hey, you know, I'm going to make a skyscraper that is 20,000, you know, stories high, you know, and then just talk about like how it's going to help people and how he's going to do this with it. And on one floor, you know, people will be able to live there. And then on this floor, you know, people are going to do this or whatever. And it's really cool because it's like kids are still going to be creative, but it's the input that they're getting is kind of what you were saying earlier of what is everybody missing as far as the input that they have? Purpose. They're missing that input and they're given the input of just entertain yourself. Whereas look at the alternative. It's like the input of vocabulary and understanding what is best allows a child to learn anything, want to learn, love learning, have fun, and have real purpose with their life, where the creative things that they're coming up with, instead of this artificial, like, you know, mommy or daddy tells you, be nice, be good, and then like you get praise for every time you're being good. And so it's like kind of an artificial point that you'll see kids have. It's this like natural expression of, I understand a lot of things and I know that what I'm here to do, and this is what I enjoy. And you can see like the creativity in that is just like, I'm going to do something. And it's cool, not just that, but the confidence that your kids have, where they'll walk up to somebody and just talk to them and they don't care, you know, about that other person's objections or whatever, or how they might perceive them, or what. They don't care about that. They're like, I'm here with a purpose. I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to share my purpose with you, and I'm having fun doing it. Whether you are or not, that's up to you. You know?
They don't take rejection personally.
Right. And you know, just imagine what that would have been like in your own life, you know, having grown up with that, and then just realize you can do that for your children for sure, but also you can support yourself to walk through those points with this community.
That's what we're offering.
And
Is the only way.
Exactly.
The only way.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah. So, hey, join us, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye. Bye.